again. We are here at the Capital Life podcast, and it's a glorious summer day. A little hot, but still glorious. So, hello, kids. Welcome to the Capital Life podcast. My name is Abby Pagood. I am here to talk about all the things, the good things, the bad things, and the healthy things. And today, our subject is infuse yourself. So one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about infusing yourself is really to kind of give you a little pick-me-up outside of the norm. We kind of get in repetitious behaviors because we like what we like, and we're human. And I think sometimes it's good to kind of get a little bit more of a wide variety of different kinds of things. So we're going to talk about infusions, and not infusions of like spinal cords and things of that nature. We're going to talk about infusion on how to add a little pick-me-up to your foods with herbs and different types of water infusions that you can do to kind of change your routine. But before we get started, we also want to make sure that we're paying attention. If you have not visited thecapitaLife.com, I highly suggest that you do because it's summer beach body time. And everybody likes to have a little bit of a tune-up so we feel nice and comfortable in our swimsuits. And in addition to that, there's all programs if you are suffering from an ankle issue, a knee issue, a shoulder issue. You just need to get in some good cardio or to feel like a beefcake. All of those things are on the website. Go to capitalhealth.com, and if you use code TheCapitalLife, you will get $15 off, not just one program, but any program that you want, which is a really good deal. And last but not least, we want to make sure that we give some acknowledgement to our Capital Partner of the Month, and that is Top Dog Pet Sitters. So they are not only good for when you're going on a trip and you need to have your fur babies watched over, they are even impeccable at giving them the attention that you can't give them when you are busy working or just swamped and overwhelmed. They come and give so much love and affection to your fur babies, even if they have special conditions. And sometimes my pups are a little bit more in favor of them sometimes, which then makes me a little bit jealous that they do such a good job favoring them with such good attention. So check them out, Top Dog Pet Sitters, for all of your pet care needs and assistance. So let's get into infusing ourselves with some knowledge and fun and all kinds of things. So we know that it's summertime. Hydration is important. And no, I'm not going to lecture you on hydration because hydration is scheduled for a couple weeks from now. So when it comes to just hydration basic 101, we need to make sure that we're drinking half our body weights in ounces, okay? Not of alcohol, not of soda, of water, okay? I don't know about you, but it's a crap ton of water. If you are a 200-pound person, it's 100 ounces in a day. That's a lot. So it can be a little bit difficult, especially us females when we start getting to a certain age. It's kind of hard to drink and consume that much and not wet yourself and have to like run to the bathroom every 10 seconds or even try to like fall asleep through the night and then you're peeing yourself, right? So hydration is really important and we have to ease ourselves into it. Now, when it comes to water, a lot of people that I've done assessments for and current clients, they despise the taste of water. And I was having a discussion with my mom earlier today about it because we were talking about how seltzer water prices have gone up so much and how it's like, oh, wow, that's kind of surprising. And a lot of it's because people don't necessarily like the taste of water. They're not accustomed to grabbing it. So how do we kind of spice up some of our water? There's some simple things that we can do with some fruits and vegetables and even herbs. So we're going to talk about some of the different ideas that we can do to add some flavor to our water so that it can actually kind of change our flow, give us some flavor. But in addition to that, it's got some really, really, really great health benefits. And so one of the classics that I'm sure that you've all seen, because all the spas kind of started it, and it was just the classic cucumber water, right? It was cucumber, I think there was like a little bit of lemon, and there was even some mint. And what's really interesting is that cucumber is a natural diuretic and treats hyper and hypotension. So it doesn't matter if you have hypertension or hypotension, it just helps regulate a lot of that, blood pressure, etc. In addition to that, it also soothes and irritates skin. So if you can remember, like the cucumber eyes in the spa, and when we put them on the eyes, it's really to kind of help deal with some of the puffiness that you can get. Now, when it comes to lemons, you get your heart health, you get weight regulation, you even get the vitamin C boost, so it helps with the immunity. And it also is a cancer killer, which is super cool because who doesn't need to do that, especially when you have a lot of free radicals in your body that you need to get rid of. So classic cucumber water, cucumbers, water, lemon, mint. Good to go. Okay. Now another one is blackberries, oranges, and ginger. Now your blackberries are full of antioxidants. They're going to help with reducing inflammation, getting rid of free radicals, toxin buildup, etc. Oranges are going to hit your vitamin C target, which actually like boosts the immune system and helps regulate vitamin C. Okay. In addition to that, ginger, it actually has some really cool benefits like preventing and relieving motion sickness, sore throats, nausea, vomiting, and even migraine headaches. So I don't know about you, but if you are planning on going on a cruise anytime soon, you might be wanting to drink a cocktail that has some ginger in it. Because if you have any kind of motion sickness or any kind of nausea with movement, that could be something that could be a really good solution for you. Another good one is watermelon, kiwi, and lime. Now that one's going to hit more of your natural diuretic and also your immune boosting properties. When you go into, like, let's say you could add mango, raspberries, and ginger. We just talked about the benefits of ginger. Mango is, full of fun, full of fullness. And we've got the raspberries, which raspberry is interesting. Not only are they an antioxidant, which you've heard me say before, but they also treat inflammation, coughs. They even treat wounds. If you actually apply it to your skin, just like you would a cucumber, it actually can. It can treat wounds. I can't even say. I said wounds. It can treat wounds, and it also is preventative in urinary tract infections and renal issues, which kind of is delightful. Now, how many of you guys out there get canker sores and like random sore throats? The raspberries also is very good for sore throats and canker sores, which is kind of delightful and surprising. So another option we can do, you can also do like strawberries, lemon, and basil, right? Strawberries are another antioxidant. Lemon, we already talked about, is that energy boosting, like vitamin C boosting, all of that stuff. And in addition to that, you could also do basil. Now, basil, we will get to that in a little bit because we're going to talk more in depth about herbs later. I wanted to really here's the water infusions, and let's get that out of the way, and then we'll talk more about our herb base later. Blueberries, lemon, and rosemary is another awesome combo. Blueberries is part of the antioxidant family. Lemons, we've already talked about that. I don't need to talk your ear off again. And then rosemaries, you're going to listen later. Continue listening so that we can hear about all of the fun herbs that it provides. Then we've got pineapples. Who doesn't like some pineapples and some pina coladas? So pineapples, coconuts, and lime. Pineapple aids in digestion, which is a number one. It also has helped good treating obesity and constipation, in addition to treating wounds and inflammation, which ironically, again, you can treat wounds and inflammation by applying pineapple to your skin. How cool is that? So another really fun one is honeydew, cucumber, and mint. I think I kind of would like that one because I really, really do like honeydew because it's a nice little change. And last but not least, one of my favorites, which I like to try and do for my husband when I can, is basically celery and lemon. Celery and lemon is really good, especially even just juicing it. You don't even need some of the water. Just like juicing celery and lemon gives it a nice little flavor, quick little drink in the morning. And it also helps with hypertension and joint inflammation, anxiety, and headaches. So how fun are those little tidbits that we get to listen to? I think that's pretty freaking awesome. Now, it's really interesting is taking those different combinations. It's about picking some of your veggies. It's about picking some of your fruits. You can add pretty much anything into something and test it out and see how it is. Now, when we really want to make something like that, how do we actually go about doing so? Well, you take a container. It could be a pitcher. It could be one of those big jugs. It really is up to you. But you can even go to the store and they even sell water bottles with the little infusions in them, which then you're not wasting a whole cucumber or, things of that nature. But idealistically, if you're going to put that much effort into making an infusion drink, you might as well have some of it for a little bit. So chop up the fruits and vegetables that you'd like to do. With the berries, you don't really need to chop them up too much. It'd be more like the pineapples and the watermelon that is really more of like breaking it down, because you can't put like a whole watermelon in a container. I don't even think it'll go through the hole. You can try it and then send me a video and I'll laugh at you. Okay, so anyway, take your desired fruit, take your desired veggies, and if you have some spare herbs, you can take some of your clippings of your herbs that you might have in your garden. You add all of those to that container, fill that container with ice and water, and leave it for 24 hours. After 24 hours, you want to make sure you remove those contents, okay? Remove the contents to it. The water infusion, that water is going to last for up to 4 days. So if you want to have a party and invite some guests over for the summer, for 4th of July, and you want to wow them with your fun water infusion, go ahead and make up your container, leave it in the fridge, let it sit for the 24 hours, and you'll have some delicious flavored water to help you keep up with your hydration. I love it. So if you guys are finding any of this insightful, fun, weird, anything that you enjoy, please like and subscribe. Follow on Facebook and YouTube. We also are on the other social media platforms such as Spotify, iHeartRadio, etc. So don't forget to look up The Capital Life and subscribe and like so you can get your notifications when we come up with new episodes on Saturdays. Yay! Okay, now let's talk about some herbs. Herbs is really interesting because there's such a lively bunch of variety. And in addition to its awesome, lively variety, what's really nice is that herbs are known to have like magical, mystical powers. But we're not going to talk about all of that today. I'm just going to save that for another day, or even possibly on another podcast that I do with one of my good friends. And that's called Embracing the Wild, which you can also find on our podcast platforms. But one of the things that's really cool about herbs is it has a lot of medicinal purposes. So not only does it have awesome magical properties like for protection and love and motivation and prosperity and anything your heart really desires or is towards working on, like detoxification and purifying oneself, it also is really cool because it has so many medicinal qualities that we can benefit from physically. If you think about Western medicine, a lot of times, a lot of the drugs that were used to treat certain wounds and other issues, they didn't have them made up in a lab yet. They didn't have access to that. So you went to your kind of witch doctor type people that specialize with different herbs and tonics and all of that stuff. So they were home remedies that were made. What's interesting is that we've gotten really away from that. Now, what I've noticed is with a lot of herbs and spices, there's a lot of healing properties within them, and we don't seem to cook with them on a regular basis, which makes me think, hey guys, if we had a larger variety of what we cooked with, what we're sprinkling on our chicken, what are we doing with that? We have had a lot of herbs that have been created and made, dehydrated. We had like oils put in things. We have sugars and all kinds of stuff that are put in just a mix of spices and rubs for our proteins that sometimes aren't even really necessary. One of my favorite ways to eat chicken is honestly grilled chicken that has just a little bit of oil that's rubbed all over the chicken breast and then sprinkling marjoram and salt on it. And it is absolutely delicious. It's fresh. and it will just blow your mind that just 2 simple ingredients, really 3 if you add the oil, but the oil is really for like non-sticking to the grill. But the point is that just one major herb can transform a protein into something amazing. The same thing is these herbs can also infuse your water and give them intense flavors that are super beneficial, which is really cool because even today, one of the big things is that people are realizing, after the last couple of years, people have been drinking too much. And so there's a huge market right now for infused waters with different herbs that kind of remind them of, give that cocktail flavor so that people can make a cocktail with a water infused citrus plant type thing that creates this amazing cocktail flavor. And then they're not drinking and over consuming and doing things that are bad for themselves. So it's really interesting. When you start diving into it, you get all these really amazing beneficial properties. It's not about just cooking with salt and pepper anymore. It's cooking with rosemary. It's cooking with basil. It's cooking with marjoram. It's cooking with thyme and all kinds of other things. So we're going to talk about some of the primary, I almost said rosemary. Obviously, that was the first one I was going to talk about. But we're going to talk about some of the primary herbs that you can utilize. Now, I am not naming all of them today. So even some of the most popular ones like cinnamon and turmeric, I'm not even discussing. So I'm going to save some of those for when we get to some of our seasonal types. When we hit fall, we'll start talking about cloves and cinnamon. And when we're talking about spring, we'll talk about some more uplifting type spices and herbs that will tickle your fancy during those times. So right now we're just going to talk about some of the primary ones. We're going to start with rosemary. Now rosemary, I love rosemary, not just for the fact of what it does for your body internally, but also what it does for my children. So I actually read it a long time ago in this kind of quirky book, and it was like talking about, like bad omens and different tales and how to fix things and whatnot. And rosemary is one of those interesting things where if you actually have bad dreams or even nightmares, clipping a couple sprigs of rosemary and putting it underneath your mattress can help ward off bad dreams. So one day, of course, one of my children had reached an age where nightmares had started. I think it was my daughter when she was probably about 4 or 5 years old. And I remember having read this. And so I was like, you know what? She's been waking up. It's worth a shot. We might as well, because I would like to get some sleep. So sure enough, I clipped off some sprigs of rosemary, put it underneath her mattress, and sure enough, like within 2 days, she was sleeping nice and sound. And then occasionally, after every about 6 months, I would end up having to change out the rosemary from under her bed, but it worked. And it's super cool. They also say rosemary is really good for protection of the home. If you actually plant a rosemary bush by your front door, it's supposed to ward off shenanigans and protect the house and home from craziness. So I don't know about you, but it's crazy times. Might worth a try. So rosemary is also really good for reducing inflammation, alleviating pain, and also irritation. So like if you have some kind of injury that's irritating you or a scratch or something, you can actually consume rosemary. It'll help reduce some of those, that irritation and some of that pain. There's also interesting is that it's very good for cracked feet and elbows. So you know how sometimes when you start aging and you're like not putting as much lotion, you start getting some people that end up washing their hands a ton, they start getting some of those cracked cracked hands. And but it can help with kind of that it can help heal that aspect. It also aids in digestion. Now, the next one we're going to talk about is basil. It is an antiseptic, it is an anti-diabetic, and it's anti-inflammatory, which that's a triple threat right there. I don't know about you. It also helps heal ulcers, arthritis, renal disease, and insect bites. I think I need some basil because that's freaking awesome. No? I don't know. I think that's pretty good. So I always like to add basil in my pasta, but you can also add that to any kind of your infusion water or anything like that. It's really easy to grow in the garden and it's very lively. And what I really like the most about basil is that after it grows really fresh and true, you can trim it very easily, harvest it, which basically is just hanging it up, letting it air dry, and then you can crush it down, and then you have dried basil leaves for the winter, you know, when you can't really grow some of those herbs in the winter. Okay, next we're going to talk about mint. That is a huge ingredient that's not only used in our infusion water to give a little bit of flavor, but it's also so benefiting when it comes to all kinds of things. Now, normally when it comes to peppermint, especially when my kids have a tummy ache or either they ate too much and their stomach is extended and they're just overloaded, or they ate something that's just not sitting right and they've got some gas and it kind of hurts their stomach and it aids in digestion. So I will roll peppermint onto the front of their belly in a clockwise formation to help promote proper digestion. And then in addition to that, it's really great for headaches. So anytime that you're even having like a migraine, like it doesn't have to be a migraine headache, it just be a little bit of a hesitated ache pain in your head, you can put peppermint on your temples. You can also put it a little bit under your nose if you want to. I don't like that because then I get burning in the eyes. So I would put it on your temples, and then you can also put it on the back of your neck, and that actually helps alleviate some headaches. It's also really good as an antiseptic and flatulence. I wonder why it helps my kids with their tummy aches when they don't feel well, because it's so good with digestion. It's also very good with vomiting and diarrhea. In kind of abdominal pain, irritable bowel syndrome. How many of you guys have irritable bowel syndrome? By the way, do you find it strange that irritable bowel syndrome seems to be a more common diagnosis in America today? Huh. Get out your peppermint because it can help. For those of you that have little babies with colic, peppermint is a really good solution. In addition to gallbladder disorders, I don't know about you, but I'm thinking peppermint's for the win on this. Just an idea. Now, next you have your marjoram, which I told you guys I really love the flavor of marjoram on some chicken. It is super good it's a natural diuretic, but it also helps with like bruises. Who knew? When you have like a really nasty bruise and everyone's asking where the hell did you get that from, and half the time you can't even tell them, put some marjoram on it. It could be really good. Now, also we're going to talk about thyme. Thyme is really good at fighting acne. It's great at lowering blood pressure, dealing with coughs, dealing with this. It's a natural disinfectant, so you can actually use it to help disinfect cuts and wounds of that nature. It's good at repelling pests and boosting your mood. One of the things that I actually do is, if you ever have those days where you wake up in the morning, you're super wiped, like you just had a really long day, it's just been a long week. I had that week this week. It was just more intense than normal. Sometimes it's not about, just pushing through and getting your nap. What I actually keep in my refrigerator is a tiny little squirt bottle that's about yay big. And it's about the size of my hand. I actually fill it up with water, and then I actually put some thyme into the water. Now, this is essential oil drops. You could also clip a sprig of thyme and put it in that water and let it saturate the water. And what I actually do is I keep it in the refrigerator. When I'm feeling de-energized and I need a boost, I will actually kind of spritz my face and just inhale and breathe. And it actually gives me just a very quick, wakes me up and gets me going for the day. So that is a very great way that you could just use a little pick-me-up in the middle of your day. Now, next we have cilantro. Now, my mother hates cilantro, and sometimes I sneak it into foods, but she doesn't always know it. It's not often. It's very rare. And a lot of times, sometimes she does notice, and sometimes she doesn't. Shh, don't tell her. I think she's listening anyway. Okay, anyway, Cilantro is really good for the body because it helps detoxify the body. It is an antioxidant, so it fights against the free radical. It helps in reducing stress and anxiety. It is very good for heart health. It also controls blood sugar levels. It also helps fight and ward off urinary tract infections, and it also aids in digestion. So now you know why, Mom, that I poison you with cilantro on occasion when I can. Hey. Okay, parsley. Parsley is good for treating coughs. It also helps with menstrual irregularity. Okay, so if you're having some irregulation with your cycle, it can help with that. It also helps aid in upset tummies, and it also is good for joint pain and inflammation. Sage is amazing for mental disorders and depression. Didn't see that one coming. Like, super cool. In addition to that, it helps with diarrhea, sore throats, gum disease, gastrointestinal disorders, and it is actually one of my favorite ingredients in some pretty wicked awesome sausage rolls that I make for the holidays. Super good. Bay leaves actually help with gastric ulcers, colic. If you've ever gotten a colonoscopy and you have some polyps, probably be a good idea to add some bay leaves to some of your food to help with the polyps. It also aids in cancers, and it helps with spasms. So I think bay leaves is a really good combination to add as well. When it comes to your oregano, you've got your insect repellent, you have your athlete's foot, and you also have your insect bites. So oregano sounds like it hangs out more with the bug zone where it helps as a repellent. I kind of think that when I personally get eaten alive by mosquitoes, I think I might want to go add some oregano to see if that helps make sure that they don't eat me. Just thought. Now, fennel is something that is kind of a acquired taste, in my opinion. It's got like a licoricey effect to it, so it's not something that I always would cook with. However, kind of blending it in something where it can hide isn't such a bad idea. But if you are a new mom and you are lacking some lactation and milk production, it might assist you in adding fennel into your diet, whether you're using fennel itself from the raw source or if you're actually using it as an essential oil. But it helps with increasing milk production. And also, for everybody, it helps aid in digestion and flatulence, which is our farting, which is always nice because you don't want to have uncontrollable farting when you're having a conversation. Kind of important. Impressions. And I don't know about you, but I think it's kind of cool that fennel can also help one's libido. So if you're somebody that's kind of struggling with getting in the mood, fennel can actually help get you in the mood. So maybe it's time to get some of that licorice tasting into some of your foods, and then maybe it can help out with your libido. Kind of fun. Last but not least is going to be our lavender. Okay, lavender is wildly known all the time because everybody enjoys it in candles or things of that nature. Lavender has never really been like a huge thing that I actually liked. Not just like, I like the way they look. They're purple, pretty flowers. Hello, I think I like purple. So I absolutely love the look of lavender, but the smell of lavender was never something that I like gravitated towards until when my children were small. I would actually use a lavender infused lotion, and that kind of made me start enjoying and like connecting it to them. But one of the things that's interesting is that we always think of lavender and we think of relaxation. Well, the reason why is because lavender is a natural sedative. So it actually does help trigger that calmness within our system. So it helps aid in our nervous system. It also helps calm and soothe, and it's a natural sedative. So that is one of the reasons why it's one of those, like, it kind of calms you down to a certain degree. It also helps relieve insomnia. So my husband is somebody that gets very stressed out. He is constantly the person that anytime he wakes up, it's either his phone is already on and by his side and he fell asleep, or he is waking up and grabbing and checking it. Do I recommend that? No, I do not. But I'm saying it happens to the best of us. And here, my husband regularly does that. So lavender would be a very good essential oil for me to put in a diffuser to make sure that he is getting exactly what he needs when it comes to sedating him and getting him the rest that he needs. Also, it helps with increasing appetites and to treat abrasions, bruises, burns, like pretty much you name it. I know that there have been times where I've been cooking in the kitchen and then, of course that oil just spurts right back up and then burns me. And to be perfectly honest, putting lavender on it immediately before running it underwater or anything, just putting lavender straight on it almost eliminated any of the pain within a minute or two, in addition to preventing it from raising up or doing any of those other things. So anytime you have a cut and abrasion, lavender is your go-to, okay? Now, all of this conversation is great because we at least are aware of some of the beneficial properties. Now the question is, how do we utilize that? Well, sometimes if you have herbs in your garden, you can get a basic starter kit and start growing these herbs in your windowsill, or you can, if you have a planter outside, you can also do it then. The other way to bring these into your system is also through a diffuser. So you can actually purchase a diffuser where you add just a little bit of water and you add somewhere between 5 and 10 drops of a particular oil that you like, that you either can gravitate to the smell or maybe even need those beneficial properties, and help diffusing that into your room is very good for your system. You can also apply these topically. You can apply some of these items are actually, you can use them via herbs, or you can also use them via essential oil. You just want to make sure that if you are doing them on essential oil, some things you really need to, like lavender, you can put on straight on your body. A lot of them you can put directly straight onto your body, but they can be very kind of potent and overwhelming and strong. So I would highly suggest maybe diluting it in a little bit of coconut oil and making sure that when you're applying it, it's properly diluted and you can get those beneficial properties that way. Okay, so that is your Infuse Your Flavor discussion for today. Make sure that you take at least 1 or 2 of those herbs that you heard. I know that some of you out there are like, I'm not really sure. Well, I want you to just go out and try. I want you to listen to the beneficial properties that one of those herbs could assist you with, add it to your protein, add it to your recipe for the week. Make a goal to at least try 1 new herb a week. And then that way, you're actually incorporating something new into your diet. You're incorporating something that's actually needed for your body. And you never know. Sometimes your body decides it needs it. So you'll be very, very surprised that your body might actually say, holy crap, this is amazeballs, because it was so freaking good. So go out, try your oils, get a diffuser, start your water, put your fruits and veggies in there, and let's start infusing our life and infusing our flavor. Thank you guys so much for joining me on the Capital Life podcast, where we talk about all the things. Join me next Saturday. It may not be at 5:30. I'm hoping it's still on Saturday. We will be traveling in the car to go out of town, and so we might end up having to do a Sunday night showcase or a Monday night showcase. I will keep you guys posted on my media posts, but the subject is going to be, I want to break free. So it's about freedom speaks, and it's not about politics, and it's not about opinions, and it's not about all of it. It's just about what freedom brings and the awesomeness of being who we are. So we're going to talk about those different things on whenever it is, but it's going to definitely be next week. I'll even see if I can pre-record it so that I don't have to leave you guys hanging on what day it's going to be. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow the Capital Health at Facebook, YouTube, or capitalhealth.com. You can sign up for our newsletter and get all the latest information. In addition to following the Capital Life on all of our podcast platforms such as Anchor, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and just remember to take care of yourself because you're somebody's everything. Thanks, guys. See you next time.